Chosen one, stop for a moment. Heaven has called your name tonight. Everything around you pauses not by accident, but by divine appointment. You didn't come across this message by chance. God sent it straight into your hands because your home has been marked for a miracle. The same spirit that hovered over the chaos in Genesis now hovers over your house. You've been sensing something different lately. The air in your room has felt heavy, sacred. You can't explain it, but your spirit knows something unseen is happening. That's not imagination, it's visitation. Heaven has chosen your dwelling as the place where His presence will rest. For too long, you have fought battles no one saw. Silent wars in your heart, restless nights, and moments when you asked, God, where are you yet? Through every tear, through every whisper of prayer, you were building an altar. Every sigh became incense before heaven. And now the Almighty says, enough. I will visit you tonight. Do you feel that stirring inside? It's not emotion, it's confirmation. Heaven has drawn a circle of light around your address. The spiritual realm recognizes that your home now belongs to divine authority. Darkness trembles because it cannot cross what God has sealed. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 13. The blood will be a sign for you on the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you. No destructive plague will touch you. That word echoes tonight over your home. Just as the blood on the doorposts marked the houses of Israel for protection, so your dwelling is now marked by the presence of the living God. Nothing destructive, nothing cursed, nothing demonic will enter where His mark rests. Think about that. The same God who parted seas, who spoke through fire, who commanded the storm to still has stepped into your space. Every wall that has heard your weeping will soon witness your worship. Every room that carried fear will now carry peace. Heaven is claiming your home as a sanctuary. This moment is not ordinary. You are standing on holy ground. Heaven is moving through your corridors, touching memories, healing pain, shifting the very air. The Spirit of God is declaring this place will be different from tonight onward. You may not see angels, but they are there standing guard at your doors, surrounding your bed, filling your home with invisible light. Every shadow that once lingered in corners must now bow to the name of Jesus. Every spirit that whispered doubt must now flee. This is a night of separation, a line drawn in the Spirit. Chosen one. You need to know this truth. You didn't survive all those battles just to go back to normal. You went through the fire to become the altar. You are the reason your home is being marked. Your faith triggered heaven's movement. You are the reason your bloodline is about to shift. Look around. The stillness you feel isn't emptiness, it's reverence. The presence of God has entered. Where anxiety once lived, peace now reigns. Where heaviness lingered, joy begins to rise. Where chaos tried to control, order is being restored. The miracle is not coming to your home. It's already in your home. Don't doubt it just because you can't see it yet. Faith sees what eyes can't. Heaven doesn't need permission from circumstances to perform miracles. It only requires your agreement. And tonight, heaven is asking for that one thing: agreement. So lift your heart right now and whisper, I agree. Lord, say it softly but mean it. Because the moment you do, the marking becomes permanent. You are telling heaven, yes, this house is yours. This life is yours. And when God marks something as His, no force in existence can unmark it. Now listen closely. This message came to you for a reason. If your heart is burning, if your spirit is trembling, that's confirmation. Heaven is near. The mark is being sealed. The miracle has already begun to breathe within your walls. Before you scroll away, act in faith. Write this prophetic number in the comments, 777. Not as a ritual, but as a sign that you receive heaven's decree. You are saying, "My home is covered. My miracle is here." And if this word resonates deep within your spirit, don't keep it hidden. Like this message, share it, and subscribe so you remain connected to every word heaven releases in this season. Your obedience spreads light. Someone else's home may be waiting for the same miracle yours just received. Tonight, remember this truth: your home isn't just a building, it's a dwelling place of divine presence. From this night forward, every breath, every song, every prayer within these walls will carry power. The mark is real. The miracle is set. The visitation has begun. You awaken to a quietness that feels different. The air carries weight, but not of sorrow, of promise. The kind of stillness that comes before dawn, when creation itself holds its breath. Deep down, your spirit senses it. Your dwelling is no longer ordinary. Heaven has placed its seal upon it. You can almost feel it humming in the atmosphere, that invisible mark glowing brighter with every heartbeat. This mark is not visible to the eye, yet the unseen realm recognizes it instantly. The forces that once prowled your night sense it too, and they keep their distance. For what is marked by God is untouchable. You may not see the glow, but darkness does, and it trembles. It knows that the authority of the Most High has claimed territory. Once, you questioned why your home felt like a battlefield, why peace seemed fragile, why joy was fleeting. But you understand now, heaven was preparing it, consecrating it through conflict. Before a temple becomes holy, it must first be cleansed. The storms you endured weren't meant to destroy your home. They were meant to drive out what could not stay once the mark appeared. There is something sacred about being marked. In the ancient days, altars were marked by fire. The presence of God always left evidence behind. And so it is now. That mark on your home is proof that God has not only heard your prayers, He has answered them by establishing His presence there. It is not just where you live, it is where heaven has chosen to dwell. You may not have realized it, but your prayers painted your walls with faith. Every time you worshiped through pain, you were anointing your threshold. Every tear that fell in surrender became oil upon your floor. Every verse you read aloud became a proclamation. You didn't know it, but you were participating in a divine ritual, heaven's process of marking what belongs to Him. The Word of God declares through the prophet Ezekiel, chapter 9, verse 4. Go throughout the city of Jerusalem and put a mark on the foreheads of those who grieve and lament over all the detestable things done in it. That same principle now moves within your home. God marks those who still care about His presence, those whose hearts ache for righteousness. You have carried that ache, and heaven has answered by marking you. Imagine this: if your spiritual eyes could open right now, you would see light shimmering along your door frames, as though invisible hands traced the edges of your house. You would see angels positioned like sentinels at each entrance, their eyes fixed outward, ensuring nothing unholy enters. You would see the name of the Lord etched above your doorway, blazing like fire that never fades. This is why certain things will no longer fit in your life after tonight. Old patterns will feel heavy. Certain conversations will lose flavor. Some people may even distance themselves. Do not grieve these changes. The mark that rests on your home is holy, and holiness always separates. You are being set apart, not abandoned. And yet, this mark doesn't just guard your physical space, it transforms the atmosphere. Peace will begin to linger in corners where tension once ruled. Laughter will return to rooms that felt silent. Even your rest will change. Dreams will carry messages. Visions will bring direction. What once was a space of survival will now become a space of revelation. You'll notice how your spirit responds differently to your surroundings. Worship will come easier. Scripture will open with new clarity. The distractions that used to pull at you will lose their grip. You have crossed into a different spiritual frequency, one where heaven recognizes your home as part of its own territory. The seal of the marked is more than protection, it is invitation. God doesn't only shield what he loves, he dwells within it. The mark is his way of saying, this belongs to me, and I belong here. It's the same kind of presence that rested on the ark, the same fire that appeared on the mountaintop, the same glory that filled Solomon's temple. That same power now rests where you stand. And so, chosen one, do not underestimate what this means. You are not waiting for revival to come from somewhere else. It has already begun inside your own walls. The mark is heaven's declaration that your home has become part of his plan. Everything that happens here from this moment on carries eternal weight. Conversations, prayers, even silence, each now echoes in heaven's courts. The seal of God transforms a space from ordinary to sacred, and that is what has happened to you. Your home, once overlooked, now radiates unseen light. The very air you breathe is saturated with promise. You have been marked not for survival, but for manifestation. You stand within the walls of your home, and something inside you begins to stir. It is not fear, it is remembrance. The memories of every struggle return, but this time they feel different. You see now that none of them were wasted. Every heartbreak, every moment you were misunderstood, every night you cried out in silence, they were all pieces of a divine mosaic being formed behind the scenes. Chosen one, you have walked through storms that would have destroyed others. Yet here you are, still standing, still believing, still listening. You may have thought the battles were random, but they were never random. They were the training ground for your anointing. Every attack was a sign that you were carrying something worth fighting for. There were days you felt invisible, when help never came and prayers seemed unanswered. But God was working in silence, not ignoring you, protecting you. When the doors closed, it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. When people left, it wasn't loss. It was purification. He was clearing the stage so that when your miracle came, no one else could take credit for it. Look back now with spiritual eyes. Can you see how every battle shaped your strength? The betrayals taught you discernment. The delays taught you patience. The heartbreak taught you compassion. And all the while, your spirit was being refined like gold in the fire. You were never losing, you were being prepared. The Spirit spoke through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 34, verse 19. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all. You have lived those words. You have felt the afflictions, but the same God who allowed the test is now declaring your deliverance. You are about to step out of the fire carrying proof that he was with you all along. Think about how close you came to giving up. There were moments when your strength ran out, when you whispered, I can't do this anymore. But even then, grace found you. Even when you turned away, mercy followed. When you fell, love lifted. When you were surrounded by darkness, light broke through the cracks. And that light, your light, terrifies the darkness. That is why the battles intensified before this night. The enemy always attacks hardest before breakthrough, because he senses what's coming. He knew your home was about to be marked for miracles. He knew your faith was about to rise again. That's why you were tested so fiercely, because heaven was about to make your endurance visible. There is a sacred truth hidden in every wound you've carried. Pain was never meant to punish you. It was meant to purify you. It stripped away every false layer, leaving behind the real you, the warrior, the intercessor, the chosen vessel who would stand in a marked house and carry the fire of God. You've learned how to fight without bitterness, how to love without needing applause, how to trust even when the outcome is uncertain. That kind of faith cannot be bought, it can only be forged. And you, chosen one, have been forged into something indestructible. When heaven looks at you, it doesn't see weakness, it sees endurance. The very scars you thought disqualified you are the proof of your calling. They tell heaven, this one is ready. So now, as your home glows with divine marking, God turns his eyes toward your journey and whispers, you have passed the test. The enemy that once tormented your nights will soon regret ever touching your name, because everything meant to destroy you has become material for your testimony. Take a deep breath and feel the shift inside. This is not the same person who once cried from exhaustion. This is the one who carries authority. Your voice now holds weight in heaven because it has been purified through tears. When you speak, angels move. When you pray, walls shake. Type these words in the comments, I'm still standing. And when you write it, don't treat it like a casual phrase, let it be your declaration of victory. It's a prophetic act, a signal to heaven and to hell alike. It says, I am still here. The fire didn't consume me. The pain didn't silence me. I'm breathing, believing, and becoming everything God said I would be. Each word you type releases the sound of defiance against darkness. It's the anthem of those who refuse to bow to fear. So let that short sentence become your roar, your song, your seal of faith, because the truth is, survival itself was the sign. If the enemy could have stopped you, he would have. But he couldn't. And now, not only do you stand, you shine. Your endurance has become your evidence, and your evidence has become your weapon. So tonight, as heaven watches, lift your head high. You have proven faithful. You have endured the refining fire. And now, standing within a home marked for miracles, you are ready to step into the promise. Every battle you survived was prophecy in disguise. Night falls deeper, yet there is no fear in the silence. You can feel movement in the unseen, a stirring that is not of this world. The atmosphere has shifted since the moment heaven marked your home. Something divine is unfolding around you. Something ancient yet freshly alive. You can sense it in the stillness, in the way the air feels heavier with holiness. It begins softly, almost unnoticed. A subtle hum, a gentle warmth brushing across your skin as though invisible hands are weaving light through your walls. The feeling grows stronger, filling the very air you breathe. You close your eyes, and your spirit knows what your eyes cannot see. Angels have entered. They do not come as flashes of light or wings of gold. They move like wind, silent but certain. They walk through your rooms, touching the edges of your reality with purpose. Each step they take marks a promise fulfilled. You may not hear their voices, but you feel their presence, calm, powerful, intentional. These are not random visitations. They are the messengers assigned to your household from the beginning. Long before you were aware of their existence, they stood by waiting for this very night. Their mission was sealed in heaven's records to guard, to protect, and to ensure the fulfillment of everything God has spoken over you. If you could see what surrounds you now, fear would vanish. For your home is encircled by a divine army. Every window, every doorway, every vulnerable place has been fortified by unseen strength. No curse, no darkness, no hidden attack can cross the threshold. The authority of heaven has built a fortress around your dwelling. You sense a peace rising within you, unlike anything you've known before. It is not the quiet of emptiness, it is the stillness of dominion. Heaven is not visiting your home as a guest. It is taking residence as king. Scripture reveals a glimpse of such moments when divine presence meets human space. The sacred record in the second book of Kings, chapter 6, verse 17, reveals, "And Elisha prayed, 'Open his eyes, Lord, so that he may see.' Then the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked and saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha." That same unseen protection now surrounds you. There are things moving for you right now that you do not yet understand. In the natural, it may seem quiet, but in the spiritual, it is warfare and orchestration. Angels are aligning divine timing, repositioning what belongs to you, removing what does not. They are touching hearts, stirring conversations, softening decisions in your favor. Heaven's order is unfolding like a symphony, note by note. You might have thought you were alone in your prayers, but every whisper was heard. Every plea for help summoned divine motion. Heaven does not ignore desperation that is pure. When you cried, "God, protect me," an angel took flight. When you said, "Lord, make a way," a door was scheduled to open. When you asked for peace, heaven dispatched it in living form. Now, that peace begins to settle upon your home like a mantle. The lightness you feel is not coincidence, it is heaven anchoring itself into your space. The walls carry memory, and tonight they will remember this visitation. Your home will not return to what it was before. You may begin to notice things differently. The same room you once dreaded to enter now feels alive. The air holds warmth. The shadows seem softer. The silence feels safe. That's not imagination, it's the residue of presence. Where angels walk, peace remains. This is the angelic assignment, silent guardians fulfilling the decree of God over your life. They have been waiting for your readiness, for your surrender, for your faith to mature into authority. Now that you have endured and obeyed, they have their command to protect, to deliver, to accompany you through the next unfolding season. There will be moments when you feel an unseen comfort, a sudden calm during chaos, or strength that rises from nowhere. Remember this section when that happens. It is the angels fulfilling their task. You are not meant to carry the next season alone. Divine help has already been dispatched. The ancient promise is true: those who dwell in the shelter of the Most High abide under His shadow. Your home has become such a dwelling. Every threshold now carries holy purpose. Every room now hosts divine activity. And so you rest, not because the world has grown easier, but because heaven has taken its rightful place around you. You do not need to understand everything. Faith does not require sight. What you need to know is this: the angelic has become ordinary in your home. The miraculous has become the new atmosphere you live in. You breathe slowly, sensing that invisible wings still hover near. The air hums with quiet reverence, reminding you that you are not forgotten, not unguarded. Heaven's watch continues as you rest. Your walls now echo peace, your nights guarded by eternal light. The night is calm, but the atmosphere inside your home feels alive, as if the walls themselves are breathing. The air holds warmth. The silence hums with unseen movement. Something about this moment feels holy, and you realize it's no longer just about your home, it's about your heart. Heaven's light is no longer only resting on your space, it's beginning to rest within you. You walk through the room, slowly, quietly, as though afraid to disturb the presence that has settled there. Every corner feels different. The same space that once carried your exhaustion now carries peace. You understand, deep inside, that what you are experiencing is not emotion, it's transformation. God is teaching you how to live in His presence daily, not as a visitor, but as one who belongs. This is what it means to be marked, not that everything around you suddenly changes, but that you begin to change within everything around you. The world outside might still be storming, but your inner world has shifted. You no longer react, you respond. You no longer fear, you discern. And that shift, that quiet strength, is the proof that heaven's hand has truly touched you. Heaven's voice is heard through the writings of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 20. The Lord will be your everlasting light, and your days of sorrow will end. Tonight, that promise feels close enough to touch. The sorrow you once carried has become soil, and from it, joy begins to grow like light breaking through the cracks of dawn. You start to see yourself differently too. You are not just surviving anymore, you are stewarding something sacred. Every prayer you whisper, every word you speak within these walls becomes a seed planted in eternity. And like all living things, that seed grows when it's nurtured by faith, by gratitude, and by the quiet generosity of the heart. This is where heaven gently invites you into a deeper kind of partnership, not through obligation, but through love. The presence that has filled your home is not asking for payment. It's inviting participation. You are standing inside a miracle, and miracles always call forth gratitude. Gratitude, when expressed, becomes the key that multiplies blessings. Think of generosity like light from a single candle. When you share it, your flame doesn't weaken, it multiplies. Each act of giving becomes another small fire, spreading warmth to hearts still waiting for hope. When you give, you are not losing, you are extending the miracle that began in your home to someone else's. That's why your support matters. When you like this message, it's like striking a spark that tells heaven, I received this fire. When you share it, it becomes a lantern carried down a dark road for someone who forgot the way home. When you subscribe, it's like building a steady lighthouse so that this light never flickers out. And if your heart ever feels moved to go deeper to sustain this flow of light, your donation becomes a river stone dropped into clear water. You will not see its ripple end, but it will keep moving, touching unseen shores, reaching souls you'll never meet. You are never asked, never pressured, only invited. Because generosity that flows freely carries the fragrance of heaven. Your gift, however small, is oil in the lamp. It keeps the flame alive so that another weary heart can find warmth. When you give, you're not fueling a system, you're fueling souls. You're helping keep the words of faith, comfort, and calling reaching those who cry in the dark. Each act, whether a click, a share, or a gift, becomes a beam of light threading across the world, connecting one miracle to another. So if this message has touched you, if it has stirred something in your spirit, then consider this. Perhaps you were not only meant to receive this word, but also to help carry it forward. You can do that in small, simple acts like this message. Share it with someone who needs peace. Subscribe so you don't miss what heaven says next. And if you feel that gentle nudge to donate, follow it with peace. It's not an exchange. It's an echo of love returning to its source. God never forces generosity. He breathes it into those who understand its beauty. Giving isn't losing, it's multiplying what already lives inside you. Just as your home has been marked, your heart is now being stirred to become a mark of blessing for others. As you rest tonight, imagine heaven smiling over your house, light flowing through every window, peace dancing on every wall. Know that your faith, your endurance, your love, and even your generosity are weaving a divine story that will outlive you. The mark on your home was just the beginning. The mark of your giving spirit is what makes the miracle spread beyond these walls. So, keep your flame lit, keep your heart open. Every click, Every act of kindness, every drop of giving becomes a note in heaven's song of light. Because in God's kingdom, every small act of love counts, and together, they make the whole world glow. The air tonight feels charged, as though something unseen has entered your atmosphere. The quiet hum that surrounds you is not ordinary silence. It's the sound of heaven waiting for your response. The mark upon your home is no longer only a covering of protection. It has become a sign of promise. You are standing at the edge of the final test before glory breaks open. You can feel it, can't you? That subtle pull between rest and resistance. The closer your miracle approaches, the more your faith is stretched. It's not because God has forgotten you, it's because He's teaching you to trust Him even when the light flickers. Every delay, every lingering uncertainty is not punishment, it's formation. Heaven sharpens chosen ones in moments like this. Sometimes the test is not in the storm itself, but in how quietly you wait while the wind still blows. There are seasons when you don't need to fight, you only need to stand. Faith does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Still, I believe, in those moments, your patience becomes worship, your silence becomes prayer, your surrender becomes victory. God sees the unseen endurance that others overlook. Every time you chose not to quit, heaven wrote it down as a win. As spoken by Jesus Himself in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 20, verse 29. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. Those words were spoken for moments like this, when your faith is being tested not by what you can see, but by what you choose to believe. You might look around and see nothing changing, but what you cannot see is far greater. Underneath the surface, heaven is aligning every piece in divine order. The angels stationed around your home are not idle, they are still at work, ensuring that every promise spoken over your life manifests at the appointed time. You may be tempted to rush, to force, to make things happen in your own way, but the Spirit whispers gently, wait. The miracle is already set in motion. Your role now is to stay still long enough for heaven to finish its work. There is beauty in this waiting. Though it feels quiet, it's not empty. The silence of God is often the sound of construction walls of blessing being built behind the scenes. You are being positioned with precision, and even the pauses have purpose. So if tonight feels heavy, remember this is the final stretch before manifestation. The test is not here to destroy your hope, it's here to reveal your endurance. And every second you hold your peace, you prove your readiness for what's coming. There's a sacred strength rising inside you even now. You may not feel powerful, but heaven sees you as unstoppable. The same fire that once purified is now empowering. The light that once tested your endurance is now preparing to reveal your triumph. You are closer than you think. What once felt delayed is about to arrive without warning. The test will suddenly make sense. The waiting will turn into worship. The questions will melt into clarity. And in that moment, your heart will know it was worth it. Every trial, every tear, every moment of standing alone, it all led here, to the threshold of glory. Before heaven seals this moment, it invites you to make a declaration, not with long speeches, not with complicated prayers, but with a simple prophetic act. Type this number in the comments, 555. It's not superstition, it's symbolism. The number 5, repeated 3 times, represents grace upon grace upon grace. It is the number of divine completion through mercy. The reminder that even in testing, you are surrounded by love. When you write it, you're not performing a ritual, you're echoing what heaven already declared over you. You are covered by grace. Your comment is more than text. It's testimony. It's a whisper of faith that joins thousands of unseen voices saying, "I still believe, and grace still carries me." Soon, your patience will become a doorway. Your endurance will become evidence. And when the dawn breaks, and it will, you'll realize that what felt like the end was only the final step before breakthrough. So stay still, stay faithful, and let the grace of God finish what it started. The test before the glory is almost over. You will look back at this night and remember how close you were to giving up and how near heaven was when you thought it was silent. The very silence you feared was the sound of angels laying bricks for your new beginning. And when the light of morning touches your windows, your spirit will know this test was not the end of your story, but the confirmation that the author never stopped writing. What he started, he will surely complete. The night grows deeper, and silence wraps itself around your home like a cloak. The air feels almost sacred, heavy with unseen presence. You've been through the fire and waited through the silence, and now, something gentle begins to stir within that stillness, a whisper, faint but unmistakable. It's not a voice that speaks to your ears, but one that touches your spirit. You don't hear words, you feel them. They vibrate through your heart, calm and precise, carrying the authority of heaven. It's as if the very atmosphere itself is speaking directly to you. This is what happens when the divine begins to guide the chosen. You are no longer seeking confirmation from outside voices because heaven has decided to speak within. It's a conversation between spirit and spirit, quiet, intimate, unshakable. At first, you hesitate to trust it. You wonder if it's your imagination, if you're only hearing your own hopes echoed back to you. But then you remember peace never lies. Fear shouts, but peace whispers. The whisper you feel is not born of fear, it's born of love. It doesn't demand, it invites. It doesn't rush, it reassures. You stand still, letting that inner voice settle. The words it carries are not loud, yet they seem to rearrange everything inside you. Simple, direct, powerful. Be still. I am here. Do not fear what is next. That's all it takes, 3 short phrases, and suddenly the weight you've carried begins to lift. This is how heaven communicates when it knows your heart is ready to hear. God does not need thunder to prove his voice. Sometimes he speaks in a sigh between your thoughts, in the quiet between your breaths. And when you finally hear him, you realize he's been speaking all along. The Spirit once whispered through the prophet Elijah in the first book of Kings, chapter 19, verse 12. And after the fire came a gentle whisper. When Elijah heard it, he pulled his cloak over his face and went out and stood at the mouth of the cave. That same gentle whisper now fills your soul, reminding you that divine power often hides in soft tones. You begin to understand that hearing God is not about sound, it's about surrender. His voice is not something to chase, it's something to recognize. He speaks in many ways, through scripture, through dreams, through people, through silence. But tonight, he has chosen the softest method, his presence within you. You think back on the times you begged for direction and received none. How you questioned, "Why won't you speak to me?" Now you see he was waiting until your heart grew quiet enough to listen. Heaven never wastes words. When God speaks, it's because he knows you're ready to obey. The voice in the silence begins to lead you, not with instructions about everything you must do, but with assurance about who you already are. It doesn't say, "Go here or fix that." It simply says, "You are mine." And that truth, once heard, changes everything. There is no fear in being guided by God. His voice doesn't manipulate or condemn. It comforts and corrects with tenderness. It leads you not by pressure, but by presence. You begin to realize that every time you sense peace after confusion, that's His voice. Every time clarity replaces chaos, that's His direction. You no longer need to chase signs. You are learning to rest in knowing. The whisper teaches you that faith is not blind, it's deeply aware. It moves not because it sees every step, but because it trusts the one who lights them one by one. You find yourself breathing differently now. The tension that once lived in your chest is gone. Even your surroundings feel changed, though nothing has moved. It's as if heaven has rearranged your inner world, and suddenly everything looks new again. The whisper is still speaking, guiding you toward peace, not performance. It tells you that your purpose was never about perfection. It was about presence. You were never called to be flawless. You were called to be faithful. And now, as you stand in the quiet glow of divine presence, you begin to realize how sacred this moment truly is. You are being trained to walk by listening, to move by sensing, to live by trusting. The divine whisper will become your compass. It will not shout directions. It will gently align your heart until every decision flows from peace. This is how God leads His chosen ones, not through chaos or confusion, but through stillness. The world teaches noise, heaven teaches quiet, and in that quiet, your purpose takes shape. You don't need to know what comes next. The whisper will come when it must, and when it does, you will recognize it not by sound, but by peace. The same peace that now fills your room, your mind, your heartbeat. You have heard the voice that many seek and few find. Treasure it. Guard it, because from this night onward, your guidance will no longer come from outside. The map is within you now, written by the whisper that never lies. The night settles softly over your home, but it is not the kind of darkness that brings fear. It's a quiet canopy under which heaven watches closely. There's a stillness in the air that feels almost alive, a silence heavy with awareness. You can sense it deep inside every moment of your life. Every word you've ever spoken, every tear that has fallen, has been seen. Nothing has gone unnoticed. You once believed that heaven was distant, that prayers floated upward and disappeared into endless sky. But now, under this sacred stillness, you realize heaven has always been closer than breath. The divine has been watching, not with judgment, but with tenderness. Every step, even the missteps, was known. Every season, even the barren ones, had purpose. You remember the times you felt unseen. Those moments when you were doing the right thing, but nothing seemed to change. When kindness was met with silence. When effort went unrewarded. You thought God was quiet, but He was recording. Every act of faith you performed when no one was watching became a note in heaven's song about you. We are reminded in the Psalms of David, chapter 56, verse 8. You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle and recorded each one in your book. Those ancient words still breathe truth tonight. Your tears were never wasted water, they were divine ink, writing your story in heaven's archives. Imagine that now, shelves of light in a realm beyond sight, filled with the records of your endurance. Every moment you forgave, every time you chose grace instead of bitterness, every whisper of prayer you uttered before sleep, it's all there. Heaven does not forget what humanity overlooks. You are seen, not as the world sees, but as eternity does. Heaven doesn't measure by results, but by resilience. The strength it takes to stay kind after betrayal, to keep believing after disappointment, to still love after loss. Those are victories that echo through the halls of eternity. And tonight, heaven reviews those records with delight. Your endurance has become evidence. The hosts of heaven see the faith that grew through struggle. the worship that rose through pain, the quiet trust that refused to die. They see how you kept showing up, how you kept choosing light, even when darkness surrounded you. There's something sacred about being truly seen, not for what you do, but for who you are when no one is watching. You've been misunderstood, misjudged, and overlooked by people who only saw fragments of you. But God saw the full story, the brokenness and the beauty, the effort behind the exhaustion. And now, He is revealing that none of it was in vain. You begin to understand why certain blessings were delayed. God was not ignoring you. He was aligning witnesses. Heaven's timing isn't built around convenience, it's built around testimony. When your breakthrough comes, it will not be quiet. It will be undeniable proof that the one who saw you in private is now rewarding you in the open. Every trial was preparation for revelation. Every hidden prayer became a foundation stone. What you thought was wasted time was actually divine investment. The unseen seasons were heaven's way of maturing your faith until it could carry the weight of glory. And even now, as you sit in this stillness, that same glory begins to press closer. The unseen eyes of heaven, gentle, not harsh, rest upon you with approval. The Creator who formed galaxies is looking at you, not as a distant observer, but as a loving Father who is proud of His child. You are reminded that being chosen isn't always about shining publicly. Sometimes it's about being faithful privately. Heaven's favor is not proven by applause, but by peace. When you can rest knowing you are seen by God, the need for human validation begins to fade away. You are not forgotten. You are recorded, remembered, and recognized. Heaven's gaze is constant, not fleeting. Even when you feel invisible on earth, your name is spoken in heaven's court. And when God calls your name there, creation listens. So as the night deepens and the world grows quiet, remember this truth: nothing in your life has been wasted, not one breath, not one cry, not one moment of standing when you could have fallen. Heaven has been taking note of it all, and soon, that record of faithfulness will turn into a season of visible favor. The same eyes that watched you weep in private will watch you rise in glory. The same angels that guarded your weakness will now witness your reward. Heaven watches closely, not to find fault, but to fulfill promise. Every second of obedience, every moment of surrender, every quiet yes has prepared you for what comes next. You are not unseen, you are known. The air in your home begins to hum again, but this time it carries the rhythm of release. Something ancient is breaking. Something heavy is lifting. You can feel it in your bones. Deep and certain, the chains that once held your bloodline are beginning to snap. The past no longer has authority here. The mark of heaven has shifted from protection to transformation, and it's rewriting your entire lineage. For years, patterns followed you, cycles that seemed unbreakable. Every time you moved forward, something unseen tried to pull you back. It wasn't only your struggle, it was an inheritance of pain, disappointment, and spiritual residue that passed from one generation to another. But tonight, that pattern meets its end. Heaven is declaring war on everything that ever said. It runs in your family. You stand now as the interruption, the one chosen to end what others tolerated. The curse that continued for decades will meet its conclusion in your obedience. What once chained your ancestors cannot cross the threshold of your home. The bloodline ends here, because the blood of Jesus has drawn a divine boundary. The apostle affirms in his letter to the Galatians chapter 3, verse 13, Christ redeemed us from the curse by becoming a curse for us. Those words are not just theology. They are your inheritance. You are the proof that redemption is real. The pain of your past generations has met the power of a new covenant tonight. Close your eyes and imagine it. You can almost hear the sound, the metal clanging of spiritual chains shattering, the echo of freedom reverberating through time. The voices of your forefathers who prayed but never saw the promise are whispering from eternity. They did it. The chain breaker has arrived. What once enslaved your lineage to fear will now serve as your testimony. What your family endured for survival, you will transform into victory. The addiction, the poverty, the rejection, the anxiety, all those things that felt normal in your bloodline are being evicted by divine authority. The old scripts are being torn apart, and a new story is being written through your obedience. This is why your battles were always so intense. You weren't just fighting for yourself, you were fighting for those who came before you and those who will come after. The enemy knew that if you ever realized who you were, the chains would lose their power forever. And now, you do. Every stronghold that whispered you'll never change has been silenced by heaven's decree. You are no longer bound by what once defined your family. The trauma stops with you. The curse stops with you. The spiritual heaviness that clung to your name has been burned away by the fire of purpose. Feel it, your spirit is lighter. The unseen pressure on your chest begins to ease. Where darkness once hid, light has moved in permanently. You are not the continuation of your past. You are the beginning of something entirely new. There will be moments when old patterns try to whisper again, trying to convince you that nothing has changed. When that happens, you'll remember tonight. You'll remember this peace, this presence, this holy stillness that entered your home and said, "Enough." You'll know that the blood of Jesus doesn't fade, it speaks louder with time. Your children, your descendants, even those yet unborn will walk in the freedom you've activated. You are the bridge between broken history and redeemed future. What you heal in faith today becomes their inheritance of peace tomorrow. And now, heaven invites you to seal this moment not with emotion, but with declaration. Type these words in the comments. Chains are gone. Let that phrase be more than a comment, it's a prophecy. When you write it, you are signing your name onto heaven's declaration that every hidden bondage has lost ownership of your life. You're saying, "I choose freedom for me, for my family, and for every generation after me." Your declaration isn't just heard by those reading, it echoes in the unseen, confirming that you've crossed into liberty. What you release through faith tonight becomes a living covenant sealed by your own voice. Tonight, the atmosphere around you has shifted permanently. The invisible has become reality. You have crossed from captivity into inheritance, from surviving into reigning. And as you take your next breath, know this truth: you are no longer fighting from the ground, you are standing on victory. The chains are gone. The curse is broken. The mark remains. And heaven rejoices because freedom now runs in your family. Now, when morning light touches your home, it will not just shine, it will testify. Every beam of sunlight will declare, "This house belongs to freedom." And long after tonight, when you remember this moment, peace will rush back to you like the sound of wings reminding you that what was broken has been permanently healed. The atmosphere inside your home has changed completely. The heaviness that once pressed against your spirit has lifted. And in its place there is clarity, soft, luminous, almost tangible. You can sense it every time you breathe. This is what happens when heaven finishes what it starts. The mark that began as protection has now become revelation. You are no longer simply guarded, you are chosen to carry light outward. All around you, signs begin to appear, small things that speak louder than miracles. The peace that once seemed fragile now holds steady. Conversations that used to drain you suddenly bring understanding. Even the rhythm of your days feels aligned. The ordinary has turned sacred because the presence of God has claimed it. This is the prophetic confirmation heaven's way of saying, yes, it is real. The evidence isn't found in thunder or lightning, but in stillness that doesn't fade. You start to realize that every small joy, every renewed breath, every unexplainable calm is a whisper of God's promise manifesting in real time. The Word of God declares in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3, "Though it tarries, wait for it. It will certainly come. It will not delay." Those words now live in your walls. What once was delayed has begun to unfold. The miracle is not waiting at your doorstep anymore. It's sitting in your living room, breathing through every moment of peace that you feel. You begin to see that heaven's promises rarely arrive with fanfare. They come quietly, like morning light sliding across the floor, touching what was dark without demanding attention. The blessing moves like that, gentle, sure, steady. And in that softness, you understand that your home isn't just marked for a moment, it's an altar for continuous miracle. But miracles, like flames, need oxygen to keep burning. They are fed by gratitude, by the decision to keep the atmosphere of faith alive. And this is where your part becomes sacred again. When you like a message like this, it's not just digital approval, it's a spark of agreement. Each click is like striking a small match that says, "Yes, I believe." It's your silent amen. When you share, it's as though you're carrying a lantern through the dark, passing it into another soul's hands. You may never know who needed the light you carried, but heaven keeps record of the flame you chose to pass on. When you subscribe, imagine it as building a little window in your spirit, a way to keep receiving light every time heaven speaks again. It's not about following a page, it's about staying connected to a river of messages that continue to water your faith. And if tonight, as you listen, something in your spirit feels stirred, if you sense that quiet pull to sow back into this stream of light, your donation is not a transaction, it's a seed. Picture yourself planting it into fertile soil. That seed won't stay buried, it will grow into trees that give shade to others. You may never meet the ones resting under their branches, but they will whisper thanks because your generosity kept the word alive. This invitation is not pressure, it's freedom. The same way rain doesn't ask permission to fall, true giving doesn't need persuasion, it flows. When you give, you're simply letting gratitude move through you. It's like pouring oil into a lamp, not to earn more light, but to keep the light from fading for someone else. And whether you give with a coin, a word, or a prayer, heaven counts it all the same. Every act of generosity, no matter how small, becomes part of the miracle's continuation. It ensures that this stream of messages keeps flowing, reaching those who sit in darkness waiting for the same light that found you. You are not obligated, only invited. Your support, your share, your love, it all becomes the echo of the miracle happening in your own home. This is how heaven multiplies its work, through open hands, through willing hearts, through people who understand that light was never meant to be kept in one place. So if your spirit agrees, if your heart whispers yes, let your gratitude move like rivers that find new paths, like wind that carries fragrance farther than sight can reach. Because everything that has been poured into your life tonight, the peace, the confirmation, the miracle, is meant to overflow. And when it overflows, it transforms not just homes, but hearts. Let your gratitude be your worship, your giving be your poetry, your sharing be your prayer. Let every action, big or small, say, "I will keep this flame alive." As you look around your home, you'll notice it again, the peace resting on your furniture, the warmth sitting in the air. These are not coincidences, they are reminders that you are living inside a promise kept. And now, with every act of light you release, heaven smiles. For the miracle didn't end with you, it began with you. You are no longer just the receiver of blessing, you have become its messenger. The night drifts onward, and your home rests in a stillness that feels sacred. The air is calm, yet alive, as if it remembers every word heaven has spoken. The light that once seemed distant now glows from within your walls. It is not the glow of fire or candle, it is peace itself, radiant and quiet, filling every empty space. The guardians have taken their place. You may not see them, but the shift in the atmosphere tells you they are near. There is a weight to the air, but it's not heaviness, it's safety. The kind of security that doesn't depend on locks or walls, but on presence. You know, without needing proof, that your home is now watched over by divine strength. You walk from room to room, and each step feels like walking through holy ground. The ordinary things, your table, your chair, even the light switch, seem touched by reverence. Nothing has changed outwardly, but inwardly everything has transformed. You realize you are not alone here. Heaven has moved in permanently. It is proclaimed in the Psalms, chapter 34, verse 7. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. That word was once just scripture to you, but tonight it has become reality. You can feel the encampment, holy protection, unseen but unbreakable, resting around your space. This protection doesn't come with noise or spectacle. It is quiet, like the rhythm of breathing. It moves in patterns that your eyes cannot track, yet your heart recognizes. Every flicker of peace, every sudden sense of stillness is proof that heaven's guardians are near. You remember the nights when fear crept in like a shadow, those times when you woke suddenly, heart pounding, feeling something unseen pressing on your spirit. Those moments were real battles. But now, something has changed. Fear no longer finds room here. Every dark whisper that once lingered near your mind has been silenced by presence. The angels stand where you once felt the coldness of oppression. Their light fills what used to be corners of dread. They are not only protecting your body, they are guarding your thoughts, your rest, your peace. The atmosphere around you has become sacred ground. Even creation seems to respond. The hum of the night, the faint sound of wind outside your window, all blend into a kind of harmony. It's as though the world itself acknowledges that something divine has taken residence here. And you notice something beautiful where protection abides. Peace multiplies. The more you rest in the assurance that heaven surrounds you, the more your home becomes a sanctuary for others too. Those who enter your space will sense it. They may not have words for it, but they will feel lighter, safer, more whole. Your dwelling has become a resting place not only for you, but for the weary hearts who cross your threshold. There is power in this kind of peace. It's not loud, but it changes everything. You start to realize that divine protection is not just about safety from harm, it's about preservation of purpose. It ensures that what God planted in you cannot be stolen or destroyed. Your dreams, your joy, your calling, all of them are guarded now. Every word heaven has spoken over your life will reach its fulfillment because divine protection holds it steady. What once slipped through your fingers will now remain. What once broke easily will now endure. You walk through your home again, slower this time, not to look for proof but to give thanks. Every wall feels alive with presence. Every breath carries peace. You realize that this is what it means to live under heaven's wings, to walk through life knowing that unseen power surrounds you on every side. There will still be storms outside these walls, but they will no longer rattle your foundation. You have learned that peace doesn't mean the absence of conflict, it means the presence of God amid it. The wind may roar, but your home will not shake, because its guard is divine. And as the night deepens, you sit in stillness, letting gratitude rise like incense. You whisper no long prayers, no desperate pleas, only quiet awe. Because what more could be asked when heaven itself stands watch at your doors? The world beyond your windows sleeps, unaware of the miracle occurring in this place. But heaven knows, angels know, the one who marked your home watches with delight. You are protected, surrounded, kept. This is not a temporary visitation, it is covenant. A promise that no darkness will reclaim what God has claimed. The guardians remain, their presence constant, their purpose sure. And as you drift toward rest, one truth settles into your spirit with gentle certainty: the Lord Himself has made your home His dwelling place. And in that quiet realization, peace expands until it fills every corner of your being. You understand you were never just visited by God. You have become His living sanctuary, His chosen dwelling forever. You wake before dawn, and the air feels different again, light, charged, waiting. It's as if heaven is holding its breath, anticipating the moment your eyes open. The peace that settled last night has not faded, it has deepened. You can feel it, something sacred is about to exchange hands between heaven and your life. This is the hour of divine exchange. The moment when what was lost is restored, when what was withheld is released, and what was broken is made whole. It isn't a transaction of things, it's a transfer of essence. Heaven takes what hurt and returns it as healing. It receives what you surrendered and sends back what you truly need. You've been emptied in past seasons, drained by waiting, by people, by battles unseen. But today, heaven begins to refill you. Every empty place in your soul is being refurnished with peace, wisdom, and strength. You gave God your exhaustion, and now He gives you renewal. The Lord spoke through the prophet Joel. Chapter 2, verse 25. I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten. That promise breathes over you now. The years that felt wasted. The seasons that seemed fruitless, none of them were lost. They were being redeemed. You are about to receive more than what was taken, more than what you imagined possible. As this divine exchange unfolds, you start to notice subtle shifts. The weight of past mistakes no longer crushes you. The shame that once whispered in your ear is silent. The memories that used to wound now feel strangely distant, softened by mercy. Heaven doesn't erase your story, it rewrites it with grace. And the blessings that come don't arrive wrapped in luxury or spectacle. They come in calm. They come in quiet provision. Bills paid unexpectedly. Relationships mended gently. Strength returning without announcement. These are the miracles that move quietly but transform completely. You realize that divine exchange is not about what you get. It's about who you become. The moment you release your pain to God, you step into identity. The fragments of your old self fall away, and what remains is purpose refined, unshakable, luminous. Now heaven watches as you stand in that light. Angels record this turning point because it marks not only your renewal but your inheritance. You are no longer asking for blessing, you have become the blessing. Wherever you go, that same restoration power will follow, touching others without you even trying. This is what heaven meant when it whispered weeks ago. Your home will be marked. The mark wasn't just protection, It was preparation. God made your home the altar because He intended to fill it and you with overflow. What He poured into you tonight is not meant to stay, it's meant to pour out. But before that flow extends outward, heaven invites one more act, small, simple, but yet profoundly spiritual. Type this number in the comments, 888. It is the number of new beginnings, the symbol of resurrection, of things that once died returning stronger and purer. When you write it, you are declaring to the unseen, my season of loss has ended. My restoration has begun. This isn't ritual, it's response. It's your way of aligning your natural voice with heaven's decree. When you type it, you're saying, I agree with what heaven is doing in me. Let the act be your symbol of surrender and faith combined, a prophetic gesture that tells your spirit, I am ready for the exchange. For what God restores, He always multiplies. What He returns, He always strengthens. As you whisper those numbers in your heart, imagine the flow reversing, the years of depletion replaced by abundance, the hours of anxiety replaced by clarity, the shadows replaced by light. You are standing in the river of renewal now. Everything that once felt broken is being reassembled with divine intention. You no longer need to chase miracles, they are flowing toward you. When the sun rises fully, you will notice the difference not just in your surroundings, but in yourself. You will breathe deeper, smile without reason, and move with unexplainable peace. Because heaven has completed the exchange, and the new has begun. The divine exchange doesn't end with sunrise, it continues through your ordinary hours. Every word you speak, every step you take will carry restoration into your day. Heaven is still moving through you. The number you wrote isn't just digits, it's a signature of faith, a key unlocking doors unseen. Heaven reads it as agreement, a silent yes that keeps the current of renewal flowing. From this morning onward, you walk not as the one who waits, but as the one who receives. What left your life empty will return, overflowing proof that God finishes every story He begins. And as the first light spills across your window, heaven whispers once more, it is done. The exchange is sealed, the promise complete, and your heart beats now in rhythm with divine renewal. The dawn rises golden and soft, spilling through your windows like liquid light. It touches everything, the walls, the floor, the air, and for a moment you simply stand there, breathing it in. The miracle that began in the night now glows in daylight. It's quiet but undeniable. The same light that rested upon your home is now resting upon you. You are different, though the world might not see it yet. Something in your spirit has shifted from waiting to walking. You no longer ask if God is with you, you know. The uncertainty that once followed you like a shadow has dissolved into peace. The questions that used to fill your thoughts have given way to quiet assurance. Heaven has moved, and it is still moving. The day feels alive, as though creation itself knows something holy happened here. The trees outside seem greener, the wind gentler. Even the sound of the city carries a strange harmony. You realize that the divine presence doesn't leave when the night ends, it lingers, transforming the ordinary into something sacred. This is how God works. He doesn't just visit, He inhabits. Once He has marked something as His, He doesn't step away. He builds there. He plants roots of peace, walls of favor, and foundations of faith. Your home, once a place of struggle, now stands as a monument of mercy. You walk slowly through each room, not out of habit but reverence. You notice how the air feels, how calm it is, how alive it seems. It's as if invisible hands are still at work, sealing every promise spoken in the night. You whisper softly, not in fear but gratitude. The writings of Isaiah testify, chapter 32, verse 18. My people will live in peaceful dwelling places, in secure homes, in undisturbed places of rest. You feel the truth of that verse wrapping around you like a gentle cloak. Your dwelling has become exactly that: secure, peaceful, undisturbed. You remember when this peace felt impossible, when every night was heavy and mornings brought dread. You used to wake and wonder what new weight would meet you that day. But now, the heaviness has lifted. The same floor that once held your tired steps now holds your strength. The same walls that once absorbed your weeping now echo with serenity. It's not just your environment that's changed. It's your perception. The miracle didn't move you somewhere new. It revealed what was always near. God's presence was never absent. It was waiting for your awareness to catch up. You start to sense this peace isn't fragile, it's permanent. It won't fade when life grows busy or storms return. It's not built on circumstance, but on covenant. And that covenant says that no matter what rises outside, within these walls, peace will reign. Even your thoughts move differently. Where anxiety once rushed in like waves, stillness now flows like a river. Your mind feels renewed. You are no longer rehearsing fears, you are rehearsing faith. Gratitude has become effortless. You smile at the simplest things: the light on your table, the sound of birds, the warmth of breath. Every detail feels sacred because you finally see through heaven's eyes. Heaven's order is rearranging everything: your priorities, your energy, your thoughts. You no longer chase things that drain you. You are learning alignment, moving only when God moves, speaking only when peace speaks. This is the rhythm of the marked ones. You are not rushing or striving. You walk in divine timing. What others chase in panic, you receive in peace. What others force, you inherit by grace. As you stand in this morning light, something whispers, this is restoration, not loud, but steady and whole. The miracle is not in what changed around you, but within you. You understand now that this peace is both gift and responsibility. It is yours to guard, nurture, and extend. The same presence that settled in your home flows through you to every person you meet. And as the day stretches forward, you know this truth beyond doubt. Heaven has not only visited your home, it has chosen it. The angels who guarded your night now walk beside you into the light of day. The miracle didn't end with dawn, it simply changed form, becoming the peace that walks with you each day of your life. And as sunlight spreads across your floor, you sense a quiet vow between heaven and earth, a promise that peace will not be momentary, but continuous. The atmosphere itself feels alive, carrying assurance like soft music only your soul can hear. This is where grace settles, not in loud victories, but in the calm after surrender. You realize you don't have to reach for miracles anymore. You've become part of one. Every breath you take now whispers the same truth: the presence remains. The day passes gently, each hour layered with peace that feels unshakable. The light that began in your home now follows you wherever you move. You sense it in your pace, in your breath, even in the way people respond to you. It is as if heaven has woven something invisible around you, a cloak of quiet glory that cannot be removed. You begin to notice that life itself seems to breathe differently now. The noise that once distracted you feels distant, unimportant. The burdens that used to pull your attention have lost their weight. You have stepped into a stillness that doesn't separate you from the world, it anchors you within it. You are not detached. You are centered. Peace has become your atmosphere, not just your emotion. You live within it, and it moves with you. It goes where you go, flows where you walk. When you enter a room, the tension eases. When you speak, people listen differently, and it's not your tone that's changed, it's your spirit. Heaven has rested upon you, and the world can feel it. This is the overflow promise in motion, the kind of blessing that doesn't stop with one person but ripples outward like water in stillness. What began as a mark on your home is now a current moving through your life. You start to realize that the miracle was never meant to stay contained. It was always meant to multiply. The Gospel of Luke records, chapter 6, verse 38, "A good measure, pressed down, shaken together and running over, will be poured into your lap." Those words, often heard but rarely understood, now unfold before your eyes. Running over, that's what your life feels like. Not rushed, not overfilled, but abundant. The blessings of heaven don't just reach you, they overflow through you. And this overflow isn't only about provision or success, it's about spirit. People who come near you begin to experience peace without knowing why. Conversations that once felt draining now bring healing. Strangers sense comfort in your presence. You have become a carrier of atmosphere, a living vessel of the calm that heaven entrusted to you. This is what it means to live in overflow. It's not about excess, it's about expression. You are the expression of God's abundance in motion. Your laughter becomes light, your patience becomes shelter, your words become healing. Without effort, you are becoming the answer to prayers you'll never hear spoken. You can see now how every moment of pain and every tear once shed was used to prepare you for this. The seasons of struggle were never wasted. They were rivers carving out the space where overflow could dwell. What once broke you now expands you. What once felt empty now overflows. You understand why peace had to come first. Without peace, abundance becomes noise. Without stillness, blessing feels heavy. Heaven first built stillness within you so that overflow could rest upon you. Because only a heart at rest can hold abundance without fear of losing it. The beauty of overflow is in its quiet generosity. It doesn't demand recognition, it simply gives. It moves like light through windows, touching everything without needing thanks. You are learning that the greatest miracles are not the loud ones, they are the constant ones. The steady heartbeat of heaven flowing through a surrendered life. Even the way you pray is changing. You no longer plead, you commune. You no longer rush to speak, you listen. Prayer has become less about asking and more about abiding. It's no longer a moment you enter. It's a rhythm you live in. And in this rhythm, blessings begin to multiply effortlessly. You wake with gratitude, and provision follows. You choose kindness, and favor appears. You rest, and opportunities come without striving. The more you flow with heaven, the more heaven flows through you. The overflow is not loud, but it's undeniable. It touches your finances, your family, your creativity, your relationships. It saturates your days with quiet joy. You no longer measure success by what you achieve, but by what peace remains. And as you rest in this awareness, you realize that your life has become something sacred, a continuation of the miracle that began the night heaven marked your home. The mark has grown, expanded, reached outward. What was once a moment of visitation has become a lifestyle of habitation. You are no longer just the one who received, you are the one who carries. The river that began in your living room now runs through your life, through your words, through your every breath, and wherever that river flows, life will follow. And as you walk forward, you can almost hear the soft current of that river within you, steady, endless, alive. It doesn't need to be seen to be real. It simply is. Everywhere you go, traces of heaven will linger, not as flashes of wonder, but as quiet proofs that peace has chosen to dwell in you. The evening settles softly once more. The sky outside your window blazes with the colors of gold and rose, as if heaven is painting its signature across the day that just passed. There is no urgency in this hour, no noise, only calm. You stand in the quiet glow of dusk, aware that something holy has come full circle. Your home feels different now, not because it has changed, but because you have. Every object, every shadow, every sound holds meaning. The air carries memory echoes of prayers, whispers of promises, the still hum of heaven's presence. You realize that your home has become a covenant, a living testimony of what happens when divine light chooses to dwell among human walls. This is covenant renewal. The same God who marked your house at the beginning of this journey now reaffirms his promise tonight. It's not a new visitation. It's a deepening of what already exists. The presence that came to you has not diminished, it has matured. The roots of peace have grown deeper, wrapping themselves around the foundations of your faith. Heaven speaks through the ancient law in Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 9. Know therefore that the Lord your God is God. He is the faithful God, keeping his covenant of love to 1,000 generations of those who love him. You feel those words breathing through the walls, confirming what your spirit already knows. This promise is generational. What began with you will continue far beyond you. You are no longer the only one carrying this light. It now spreads to everyone connected to you, to those who step into your home, to those who hear your words, to those who feel your kindness. The covenant that heaven has written into your space has begun to flow outward, weaving invisible threads of grace through every relationship, every conversation, every moment. You stand by the window and watch the sky fade from fire to silver. The world outside continues, but your heart beats differently now. Gratitude, not fear, fills your chest. You understand that miracles don't always shout, they stay. And staying is its own kind of miracle. You think of all the people who need to feel this same peace, the ones still searching, still fighting, still believing that God has forgotten them. And you know deep down that the message carried to you is meant to travel further. Peace grows by being shared, not stored. When you like what speaks to your soul, it's as if you're lighting a candle in the dark, quiet, small, but enough to remind heaven that the light still matters. When you share a word of peace, it's like opening a window in another home, letting fresh air pour into a room that hasn't breathed in years. And when you comment, imagine it as leaving a small stone beside a river, a quiet mark that says, I was here, and peace found me. Each word you write becomes part of a mosaic of faith, small echoes joining together to form a chorus of gratitude. You are not commenting for attention. You are building an altar of remembrance, so that when others pass by, they too can rest beside your peace. When you subscribe, imagine building a bridge between this stream of light and your own daily life, a quiet way of saying, let this river keep flowing through me. And if your heart ever feels stirred to go deeper to support this flow, to give so others can hear what you heard, that giving becomes water poured onto fertile soil. It's not a demand, it's devotion. Your donation becomes a ripple of kindness that outlives you, feeding unseen gardens and souls who need hope. You are not pressured to do anything. This is sacred choice, not obligation. Heaven never commands generosity, it inspires it. Giving becomes beautiful when it is born from gratitude, not guilt. What you choose to release is never lost. It becomes part of heaven's harvest. Every act, whether it's a like, a share, a quiet comment, or a simple gift, is another spark keeping this message alive. Together they form a constellation of faith across the digital night sky, reminding the world that light still exists. As the stars emerge, you whisper a prayer not of request, but of thanksgiving. You thank God for every person who will one day feel this same peace, for every home that will soon be marked as yours was. You thank Him for the gentle way He turns messages into movements, hearts into vessels, people into light bearers. And as you close your eyes, the peace remains, the covenant stands. The same presence that filled your home in the beginning still rests upon you, now steady, strong, silent. You realize that this journey has never been about receiving something temporary. It has been about becoming something eternal. So let your gratitude flow in whatever way feels true to you, through kindness, through generosity, through connection. Because the most beautiful offerings are the ones that come freely, whispered from the heart and carried upward like incense. Tonight, as heaven watches, the circle completes itself. What began as a word has become a life. What started as a visitation has become a home. And what was once a miracle for one has become a blessing for many. Night has fallen again, yet it no longer feels like darkness, it feels like rest. The same stars that once looked distant now seem near, almost familiar, as if they have been quietly watching over your home since the beginning. The glow from your window joins them, a single light among 1,000, but heaven knows it by name. Inside, the air carries the calm rhythm of completion. The walls hum softly with memory, the floor feels warm beneath your feet. Every corner of your home seems alive with presence, not loud, but steady like the heartbeat of something eternal. This is not just the end of a day, it is the sealing of a season. You sit where you've prayed, where you've cried, where you've listened, and in that familiar space, something deeper awakens, a quiet realization that your miracle was never about things changing outside of you. It was always about becoming who you were meant to be within. There is no thunder now, no shaking, no angelic wind, just stillness. And in that stillness, you hear what few ever recognize, the sound of peace breathing. It fills the room, invisible but tangible, like a lullaby written before time began. You finally understand that this peace was not given as a reward, it was given as a revelation. It reveals that God's greatest miracles are not explosions of power, but transformations of heart. They are the unseen shifts that turn fear into faith, despair into endurance, restlessness into worship. The psalmist reminds us in his song, chapter 46, verse 10, "Be still and know that I am God." You've heard that verse before, but now it carries new meaning. Stillness is not weakness, it is awareness. It is the sacred posture of one who trusts that heaven moves even when the world stands still. You lean into that awareness. You let your breath slow, your mind quiet. The thoughts that once raced now move like gentle waves. Each exhale feels like surrender. Each inhale feels like renewal. The presence that fills your home doesn't demand, it simply remains. It occurs to you that peace is not the absence of storms. It's the presence of the unshakable one within them. The world outside your walls will keep spinning, loud and uncertain, but your home will stand as an island of calm, a place where heaven and earth continue to meet. And even as the night deepens, you realize this calm is not fragile, it's fierce. It's the kind of peace that holds its ground in chaos, the kind that can't be stolen by fear or broken by noise. It doesn't retreat, it reigns. You think of the journey, the fear, the waiting, the surrender, the divine whisper, the breakthrough. Each part was a page in the story that brought you here. You didn't just survive it, you were reshaped by it. You were purified by silence, strengthened by surrender, and crowned by peace. Now you know why heaven chose this house, this moment, this person. You were never unworthy, you were being prepared. Every unanswered prayer was a foundation stone. Every delay was alignment. Every loss was pruning for growth. You look around again, not as a resident, but as a witness. You see proof of a living covenant all around you, the evidence of what happens when human hearts and divine purpose meet. It's not just beauty, it's transformation in stillness. A gentle breeze brushes through the open window, carrying with it the faint scent of rain. It's as though heaven is refreshing the air around you, sealing its promise one final time. You can almost hear the quiet murmur of angels standing guard outside, content in their task, unhurried in their watch. There is no fear in this night, no longing left unresolved, only gratitude that hums softly beneath your skin. You don't need visions or signs anymore. The greatest evidence of God's presence is the peace that refuses to leave. You understand now that your story is not ending, it's entering rhythm. The miracle that began in a single night will continue unfolding across days, months, and years. Peace is no longer a moment you return to, it has become the landscape you live in. You close your eyes, letting the night surround you. The silence feels alive, sacred. You are no longer the seeker, you are the sanctuary. And as heaven looks upon you, it finds rest in the very heart it once healed. And somewhere between your heartbeat and the hush of the night, you realize you have become the answered prayer you once prayed. The peace you sought has found its home within you, unending, unbroken. The stars outside shimmer as if in agreement, their silent light echoing the truth now rooted in your soul. The miracle remains, and so do you, whole, chosen, and at rest. The night is long, but it is not lonely. The stars gleam like whispers across the sky, each one pulsing with silent language only heaven understands. Your home glows softly beneath their gaze, a quiet flame among countless shadows. It feels as though heaven itself is keeping vigil, resting where it once moved with power. The atmosphere carries the weight of eternity, gentle, unhurried, endless. You sense that time has slowed, not stopped, but stretched to make room for something sacred. There's no longer a separation between the divine and the daily. The eternal now breathes through the ordinary. You sit in the stillness, no longer trying to interpret what God is doing. You've learned that presence needs no explanation. The miracle was never about answers, it was about awareness. You now live with the unshakable knowing that heaven doesn't need to prove itself. It only needs to be welcomed. You remember how it began with weariness, with questions, with pain that felt impossible to carry. And yet, each piece of that pain has become part of the foundation under your feet. You are standing now on the stones of your own endurance. The wounds you once hid have turned into windows where light passes through. The scriptures promise in the book of Psalms, chapter 126, verse 5, "Those who sow in tears shall reap with songs of joy." You have sown in silence, watered the soil with your prayers, and waited while heaven worked beneath the surface. And now, you are beginning to see the harvest of peace sprouting quietly within your life. It's not loud or flashy, but it is certain, like the dawn waiting behind the horizon. You begin to see how heaven's timing was never late. Every delay was deliberate, every silence strategic. God wasn't withholding, he was preparing. He waited until you were ready, not just to receive, but to carry. Because peace once given must be protected. And now you understand you are not just the recipient of a miracle. You are its guardian. As that realization settles over you, gratitude rises, not emotional, but steady and sure. You are thankful not only for the blessings, but for the breaking that made space for them. You are thankful for the nights of wrestling that taught you how to listen, for the waiting that taught you how to see, Gratitude fills the gaps that once held complaint, turning them into wells of worship. The peace around you deepens, spreading like quiet fire. Even the shadows seem holy now. You realize that heaven never left when life felt heavy. It was simply moving beneath what you could perceive. Every unseen battle, every hidden intervention was part of this unfolding grace. Your faith no longer trembles. It walks. It breathes. It holds steady in silence. The miracle is not an event but a rhythm, a pulse between you and the divine. You no longer wait for signs. You recognize them in everything. A soft breeze and a gentle silence. The way light lands on the floor. These are the quiet sacraments of daily life. This awareness becomes a new form of prayer. You don't have to speak constantly. Sometimes your breath is enough. You live in a dialogue that requires no words. The sacred and the simple have merged, and you find yourself walking through holy ground even while doing ordinary things. Your heart feels lighter, yet more rooted than ever. You have found what people spend lifetimes searching for, a peace that doesn't depend on outcomes, a joy that doesn't need applause, a strength that doesn't require control. It dawns on you that what God has built inside you can no longer be undone. You have become a temple not made with hands, a resting place for divine peace. The same light that once filled your home now shines from within you, uncontained and unforced. Outside, the wind changes. It carries the scent of renewal, the kind that only comes after rain. It's as if heaven itself exhales through the night, content with the work completed in your heart. You look toward the horizon, no longer searching but beholding. The sky is dark, yet it holds promise. Somewhere beyond that darkness, morning is already forming. And you realize for the first time, you are not waiting for dawn. You are the dawn. Because the light that once visited your home has taken residence in your soul. The miracle has moved from around you to within you. And this quiet, eternal glow is the proof that heaven finishes what it begins. And as you sit beneath that vast, starlit sky, a thought settles gently over your spirit. You are no longer chasing light. You are carrying it. Every breath, every heartbeat, every word now glows with quiet purpose. You have become living evidence that heaven still touches earth. Somewhere deep within, you smile. The peace that once felt borrowed now feels owned. You realize that even when tomorrow comes with new trials, the light within will not dim, it will only deepen, shining steadily through every shadow yet to come. The story closes not with an ending, but with continuation. The light that began as a whisper in your home now lingers in your hands, asking only one thing: that you let it travel farther. The peace you carry was never meant to stay still. It was meant to move, to breathe, to reach. If this message has touched something deep in you, let it ripple outward. When you like this word, imagine it as pressing your palm into wet clay, leaving the imprint of faith for heaven to remember. When you share, think of releasing a small lantern into the night. Somewhere, someone lost in shadow will see its glow and find the courage to keep believing. Your simple act becomes a thread of connection between two souls who have never met, both carried by the same light. When you comment, see it as planting a seed in sacred soil, a few quiet words that whisper, "Peace found me here." That seed might bloom in another heart long after you've left this page. When you subscribe, it's like building a window in your spirit so that whenever heaven speaks again, light will find its way in. And if gratitude moves through you like a soft tide, if you feel the desire to keep this stream flowing, your donation becomes the gentle current that carries light to those still waiting for dawn. You're not buying a blessing, you're extending one. Each gift, however small, is oil in the lamp that keeps the flame alive for others. Everything you do from this point, every like, every word, every act of giving becomes part of a quiet revolution of peace. Together, these small gestures weave a tapestry of light across the world. So, let it move through you freely. Let what touched your heart tonight touch another. The miracle that marked your home can mark another's, until the world it goodbyes.